Hey guys, glad to see you back. By the way, for new people, welcome. On this channel you can find a lot of stories as this. Nice to see you and hopefully you will enjoy.
The clock blinked 3:14 a.m. Every night the same. Time seemed to mock me, freezing me in unease. I sat up, heart pounding. The silence was deafening, broken only by the ticking clock. Sweat trickled down my back. My room was never fully dark. The streetlights outside cast long shadows. Shadows twisted on the wall. The branches of the old oak tree outside my window scratched at the glass. A floorboard creaked outside my door. In the stillness, it was as loud as a gunshot. My breath hitched. I pulled the covers tighter, fear knotting my stomach. I hated this in-between time. Not quite night, not quite morning. The sky was a deep blue, hinting at dawn still hours away. Shadows whispered and things went bump in the night. Every creak and rustle fed my paranoia. My breath caught. I lay motionless, listening. The silence was oppressive. I thought I heard my name, a soft whisper. It sent a shiver down my spine. Was it my imagination? I squeezed my eyes shut. Maybe if I pretended to be asleep, it would go away. I tried to calm my heart. Just go back to sleep, I muttered. But sleep was elusive. The night stretched on, endless and unforgiving as I lay there trapped in fear. The whispers continued, soft at first, then louder. They came from everywhere. My eyes flew open. I scanned the room, my heart pounding. The shadows seemed deeper, more menacing. My phone buzzed, glowing an eerie blue. The hairs on my neck stood up. It was a call, an unknown number. I hesitated, my finger over the answer button. The whispers grew louder, urging me to answer. I answered the call. The room fell silent. "Hello?" I said, my voice trembling. A pause, then a distorted voice replied. "Hello, Jake." I froze. It was my voice. Panic gripped me. "Who is this?" I whispered. The voice chuckled, a chilling sound. "Don't you recognize your own voice, Jake?" My breath caught. The phone fell from my hand. I looked around, but the shadows hid everything. The air felt heavy. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. I couldn't move. The darkness closed in, swallowing me. I was falling through an endless black abyss. It was disorienting, like gravity had abandoned me. I felt weightless, but the speed was terrifying. The darkness wrapped around me like a blanket. The abyss seemed infinite, swallowing all light and hope. I couldn't tell if I was moving or if the void was playing tricks on my mind. The air was thick and cold, almost suffocating. It clung to my skin, making it hard to breathe. The coldness chilled me to the core. The smell of dust and decay was overwhelming, like a forgotten tomb. The silence was absolute, pressing down on me. The only sound was my frantic heartbeat echoing in my ears. It reminded me I was still alive, still conscious, despite the nightmare. I didn't know how long I fell, minutes, hours, days. Time seemed meaningless. Each second felt like an eternity. Time was a distant memory, a concept that no longer applied. I was adrift in a sea of darkness with no sense of direction. Then, suddenly, the falling stopped. I landed hard on a cold surface, the impact jarring my body. The shock left me breathless. I lay there for a moment, gathering my thoughts before slowly pushing myself up. I looked around, my eyes adjusting to the dim light. The light was faint, barely enough to see by, but it was a welcome change from the darkness. It cast eerie shadows, giving the room an otherworldly feel. I realized I was in a large circular room. The space was vast with high ceilings. The room was empty except for the faint light. The walls were made of polished obsidian, smooth and reflective. They absorbed the light, creating a mirror-like effect. I could see my own distorted reflection staring back at me. I took a cautious step forward, my footsteps echoing. The room felt ancient, as if it had been waiting for me. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching me. Determined to find a way out, I steeled myself and began to explore the room, each step taking me deeper into the unknown. In the center of the room stood a mirror, reflecting a swirling gray mist. The mist began to clear, revealing an image. It was me, or rather, my reflection, but the eyes were different, unsettling. They glowed with a deep red light. The reflection smiled, a slow, cruel smile. "Hello, Jake," it said, mocking my voice. I was paralyzed with fear. The reflection stepped out, moving like a snake. It looked like smoke and shadows always changing. "You can't escape!" it hissed, its red eyes glaring. I stumbled back, reaching for something to hold, but there was only cold, smooth obsidian. I was trapped. The reflection came closer, grinning wider. "We are one," it whispered, its voice echoing in the dark room. Desperation surged through me. I had to escape, had to get away from this thing. My eyes searched for a way out, then I saw a tiny crack on the obsidian wall. It was faint but there. Hope flickered within me. I lunged at the crack, throwing my weight against it. To my surprise, it held. I pushed harder, and the crack widened with a groan. I squeezed through the gap, the sharp edges tearing my clothes and my skin. Ignoring the pain, I was driven by adrenaline and fear. I tumbled through, landing hard on the other side. I scrambled to my feet and ran. I didn't know where I was going, didn't care. I just had to get away from that place, from that thing. My ragged breathing filled my ears, each breath a victory. I burst out of my room into the hallway, my heart pounding. Fear drove me, an unseen terror just beyond my sight. My house, usually comforting, felt like a trap. The cozy furniture and soft lamps seemed like bars of a cage. I needed to escape, to find help. Desperation urged me to flee from the nightmare in my home. As I ran towards the front door, gasping for breath, a chilling realization hit me. I felt eyes on my back, as if the house itself was watching me with sinister intent. I glanced over my shoulder, my pulse quickening. The shadows seemed to mock my fear. My blood ran cold. Every mirror in the house now showed my doppelganger, a twisted version of myself that sent shivers down my spine. Those glowing red eyes watched me with malevolent amusement. The reflection was trapped, but it was still there, feeding off my fear like a parasite. I felt its presence, a dark shadow whispering threats and doom. The reflection was trapped, but it was always there, a reminder that I was never truly alone, always waiting to strike. I ran until I was far away, the sun rising on the horizon. I never went back to that house. I started a new life, but that night haunted me. Every time I looked in a mirror, I remembered the red eyes, the terror I felt. Some things can't be escaped. Some things follow you forever.